Have you ever wanted to chat with Tony Robbins directly? Now you can, and it's as easy as texting him. That's right, Tony is part of Community, a new platform that allows you to communicate with him one-on-one. All you need to do is send him a text at 561-423-1444. That's 561-423-1444. Be sure to let him know what you think about this episode and all of the other life-changing content he's making available to you at www.tonyrobbins.com/resources. Welcome to the Tony Robbins Podcast. Today we have a very important episode for you. If you're like many people, you're probably trying to make sense of all of the information that's being shared 24 hours a day on television, headline news, and across social media channels around the world. It's a lot to keep up with, as new numbers and statistics about COVID-19 are being broadcast around the clock. In this episode, we're bringing you two longtime leading physicians to provide context and clarification of the facts that you're hearing. Dr. Peter Diamandis and Dr. Bob Hariri will break down the coronavirus data that you're seeing and hearing in the media. Dr. Hariri is a surgeon, a biomedical scientist, and a serial entrepreneur in biomedical technology. He's going to share some of his team's breakthroughs in a stem cell treatment that could be an effective solution for COVID-19. This episode was recorded on Thursday, April 9th. Here's Tony.
Hey everybody, it's Tony Robbins. Listen, we have a really important program for you today. Shout out to all of you that I know are dealing with all kinds of stresses with the whole world being shut down. We have like 200, whatever the number of people, billion people that are shut down into their homes. And there's so much fear and there's so much uncertainty. And so the purpose of this particular program is to bring you some of the best experts in the world who can help you put this in context. Because a lot of what we've heard and a lot of the decisions we've made has been based on numbers that were projected to be accurate and haven't been accurate, unfortunately. No one's done anything wrong. Everybody's trying to protect our society, protect our world. And in so doing, there may be some overprotection. And so just like if you go hear a medical diagnosis today, most human beings know you should get a second opinion. Today, we're going to have some experts who are super qualified to be able to talk in this area because it's a pure expertise. Try and give you a context of what we've learned and where we really are, maybe dispel some of the fear. But then the majority of the time we really want to talk to is what are some of the solutions that are coming out that are true breakthroughs that can make a difference with this COVID-19 situation. And we're gonna have a couple guests, but who's gonna be my partner today as my partner in real life, which is Peter Diamandis, who's my dear, dear friend, and we're partners together. He's the head of the X Prize. He created the X Prize. Most of you in my audience know who he is. He's the executive founder of Singularity. He's, multiple New York Times #1 bestseller with Bold and Abundance and Bold Capital Partners. I mean, there's so many companies, I couldn't list them all. But Peter's joining us now. So Peter, hello. Thanks for joining me, brother. And thanks for joining us.
Thank you, brother. A pleasure. And yeah, it's a pleasure to welcome everybody as well. And during this time, we're all trying to understand what's going on with this pandemic, because it's both a viral pandemic and it's a pandemic of fear. And people are talking about what are the diagnostics available? What are the antivirals available? What are the vaccines available? More importantly, what are the therapeutics available? And we have an incredible guest that Tony will introduce in a second, who's another brother and a partner with us, one of the smartest people that we know. But want to contextualize what we're going to be speaking about during the course of this hour plus. The first is, let's talk about what's truly going on around the world in terms of what are the real numbers? How fearful should you be? How hopeful or optimistic should you be that this might be over soon, or it's not as bad as people think it is? But the meat of this program is going to be a therapeutic treatment for COVID, for viral infections that you might not have heard about. And it's a concept of cellular medicine. So we're going to be talking about how do you augment your immunity with natural killer cells and with stem cells. An extraordinary scientist, physician, and CEO is with us. Tony, you want to go ahead and introduce?
Yes, and I just want to say, in this particular show, we may divide this in two, to be honest, so we'll decide as it's here, but we're also going to bring you some people who are on the most advanced areas of testing. You've all heard about antibody testing. Many people are saying this is the only way we really get back to work because the current tests that you're doing swabs on, we'll go into this a little bit later in the show here, they're, first of all, not super accurate, a lot of false positives, but most importantly, it only tells you that you might have the virus now. It doesn't tell you if you develop antibodies. In fact, if your body is now, your immune system is strong and it'll fight off the virus, we don't have to worry about it. You're free to go back to your normal life. And so it's pretty important, as well as a similar company that is working on a vaccine that's worked in this industry for more than 30 years, but a vaccine that may be accelerated in its tempo, not 18 months away, simply because the source of the vaccine, as we'll walk through with them, doesn't actually use the virus itself, so it's not so dangerous. But we'll get into that as well. So it's a solution-oriented show, but we want to start by introducing Dr. Bob Harari, MD, PhD. Bob is an incredible neurosurgeon. He's a biomedical student. He's a high-performance aviator. He's a serial entrepreneur in 2 technology sectors, in biomedicine and aerospace, both. He's truly a renaissance man. And he's our dear friend and partner, but I got a hold of Bob originally through Peter and I when I tore my rotator cuffs and kind of started on this journey of understanding cellular therapy, because they were torn so badly during this snowboarding accident that literally the doctors said, 3 different doctors, you have to have surgery immediately. The pain was incredible. And then the problem was the rehab, the 3 to 6 months of rehab where I wouldn't be able to clap, move, and do things I do. And Bob was the one who taught me the difference in the different types of stem cells in the world and cellular therapy, and got me to the right type of treatment, the impact of which was 1 session, no exaggeration, and my rotator cuff is absolutely perfect. I can do everything I want to do. I had no downtime. I mean, it was life-changing to me. So that entered me into this whole area of really looking at the change that's happening in medicine today and finding out as much as I could about cellular therapy. Bob is the chairman and founder and chief executive officer of Cellularity. It's one of the world's leading human cellular therapeutic companies. And he's a pioneer in stem cells and just a brilliant guy. And he's also a straight shooter. So it's always fun to be with Bob. Bob, welcome to the program.
Tony, great to see you. And Peter, thanks for having me on.
Beautiful, buddy.
Great to be with you, man. Listen, let's start with context. I mean, you're up there in New York. You see on the news every night, there's a red frame or everything, more people dying, more people diagnosed. You and I both know diagnosed doesn't mean a whole lot. It's who gets hospitalized. They put these huge numbers up, and no one's trying to do anything wrong. They're trying to inform people, and unfortunately, using fear as the primary motivator. Can you give us a little context about what's really happening in the trenches, where we stand, and what the numbers were originally based on, but all these formulas that made us shut down the world economy are from Wuhan versus what we're finding now?
So, listen, we're living through an unprecedented event in global health. Viruses come and go all the time. Pandemics happen with a great deal of frequency. What's unique about this particular pandemic is the nature of the virus itself is somewhat different than what we are normally used to. And the somewhat nefarious origins of the virus have left people to be both on a hyper-vigilant, hyper-alert state, but also willing to react